like to have Beau Dietl in once a week, Fridays usually, to talk about what happened the previous week. Here he is right now. Beau Dietl, welcome to Good Day New York.
Well, thank you for having me.
Beau Dietl, who was in Goodfellas, by the way, had a great role, arrested Ray Liotta towards the end of the movie. I want your take overall about how the police handle Occupy Wall Street.
You know what? People always talk negative. This is the most professional, not because I'm a former detective. This is the most professional police department. I don't know if I could have held back getting bottles and batteries thrown at me. You know, these policemen that were down there have conducted themselves in the most professional manner. We've seen what happened in other cities around the country. New York City Police Department, my kudos to your father and to the police department, because if they would have busted more heads up there, he would have been screaming and crying about it. They were able to take them, mobilize them. They wanted to go over the Brooklyn Bridge. They did it in the best manner possible. They didn't let them go into the roadways. They conducted themselves. You noticed how they put the barriers. They kept them kind of confined to where they wanted them confined. Great operation. I saw my friend out there, Joe Esposito there, the chief out there, operating right there, right in the front lines, and that's what Joe Esposito is always there. My congratulations, because we always can condemn them when things happen bad. They did a great job.
I mean, for the most part, the protesters were peaceful. There's always a few bad apples who like to bait the police.
If you notice, too, during the demonstrations, they were throwing stuff, and what they did was they weeded out. A couple of the officers there pulled a couple of these troublemakers right out and over the top because of the fact that if you left them in there, they rebel rouse. And then you get people with no real, they're not tough guys, but all of a sudden with a crowd and a gang, they become tough. And you got to weed out the problems and the troublemakers right away, and then you calm things down, because the majority of these people are demonstrating for their own values and they don't want trouble, but then the troublemakers are in there, and like I said shows before, you got to take those anarchists and those troublemakers and get them out right away before the thing gets worse.
Well, the stated intention was to shut down the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, Occupy Wall Street. That's what they were talking about from the very beginning of this.
It depends on what you mean by occupy, though,
I
Greg.
know, we want to get into that.
Yeah, but the idea of Wall Street, I mean, look
it's
at
their word,
the New York
occupy.
Stock Exchange is a private institution. You can't come into my home. And that's why the police were there saying, wait a second, we can't even go down there now unless we have a visitor's pass, and we have to be invited. So these demonstrators think they can close down. It was handled excellent. I'm so proud now that I was a New York City policeman, because these guys worked really, really hard. All the negatives that popped up, here's a positive. And God bless all those cops. And your father.
Well, thanks, Beau.
All right, let's move. Can we move on to a different subject?
Sure.
Is that okay? Lauren Spear, the young girl from our area who went missing up at school at the end of the semester, last semester.
Indiana University.
Yes. Are you working with the family? What's going on with that? They still haven't found her.
All I have to say is yesterday we had a hearing in Indianapolis, and we're approved to be licensed there now. And I want to thank the state of Indiana and the licensing authority for giving us the opportunity to work there.
What does that mean now? Well,
it means that we can investigate the case and be licensed and everything. But the most bottom line of this whole thing, I don't want to take it out of context. All that stuff that happened, most important thing right now is that we find this little girl.
Is there any chance that she's alive?
I always pray, man. That's all I can say is I'd love to find her alive. You know, we're actively involved in an investigation. I don't want to talk about it, but the thing is that I'm just happy that we're able to investigate it now, and we're licensed there in the state of Indiana. And all I can say is my heart goes out to the Spear family now with the holidays coming up. You know, they're there. They're there all the time. They live there. They have an apartment there. They're waiting for their little girl to be returned, and
somebody had to see something, Beau. Somebody had to see something.
There's a lot of things that they're tracking down and they're following up on. Let's just pray that we find Lauren.
Well, we gotta take a break. So good seeing you.
My pleasure being here on Friday. Thank you very, very much.
Beau Dietl from Beau Dietl and Associates. If you need somebody followed, if you need somebody investigated,
what about security?
Beau's your guy.
What about
security, right?
But I could hire you to follow somebody, right?
Greg, I'll do anything for you.
That's all right. Thank you very much.